Barney, the charismatic enigma here, and you are watching the Common Sense Ain't Common podcast.
Bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, some rosy on the wood. Standing on the shit so you can get it understood. It's pedigree in me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, something rosy on the wood. And bitch, I got the belt so you just get it understood. It's pedigree in me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good.
Big ol' I am turning, big ol' wood I'm burning, big ol', I put her in. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our breaking news edition of the Common Sense and Common podcast. Of course, I am your host, the illustrious, your role model, the blueprint, Damn Don. I did just want to come on here and just do this breaking news. I really wanted to report this last week. I really wasn't in the mood to report on it last week. We will touch on that on the non-wrestling episode this coming Wednesday. Make sure you all are in tune for that. But we are just going to simply jump right in. Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out of Monday Night Raw last Monday, exactly 7 days ago today. They walked out of Monday Night Raw, and now there's more stories coming out of, oh, did they leave before Monday Night Raw even happened? Were they really in the wrong? Is WWE being petty? There's a lot of different situations and opinions and things going down right now, so I figured, why not give you mine? My opinion here is I completely understand both sides. I'm on complete both sides. I'm not on any one side more than the other. Actually, no, that's a lie. I think I'm on Sasha and Naomi's side a little more than WWE's side, but I do understand both sides simply because you can't get mad at Sasha and Naomi for wanting direction with their championships. They want direction with their titles. They were essentially told Sasha was supposed to face Ronda, and then Naomi was supposedly gonna face Bianca Belair, and then they were gonna lose these singles titles matches, and then basically not have a tag title feud and not do anything with the tag titles until July, which was Money in the Bank. And they were kind of like, well, we're tag team champions. We want to be in tag team matches. Why can't you give this to Shanti? Why can't you give this to Xia Li? Why can't you give this to Oscar or something like that? Like, I definitely understand where they're coming from, and I feel like maybe this is almost Sasha getting deja vu from her first women's tag team run with Bayley. When they had made Bayley and Sasha all these promises about going down to NXT and defending the titles, and then they lost the titles, and then Sasha left then too. So it's just a really interesting situation. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know what the fuck to believe. I don't know what's true and what's not true. I don't know if we're being worked. I just don't know. I genuinely don't know what to believe. We are in an era right now where they are releasing absolutely everyone. No one is safe. I definitely feel like Roman Reigns' influence is definitely playing a part in them not releasing Naomi for sure. Sasha does have legit star power. I have seen people saying Sasha Banks is bigger than Ronda Rousey and more mainstream than Edge. Can you believe somebody told me Sasha Banks is more mainstream than Edge? I'm on their side, but the Sasha stans are a little delusional. I'm not even gonna hold you. Over 90 Sasha Banks fan accounts have unfollowed me on Twitter. Over 90. Just simply because I stated my opinion. But yeah, over 90 of them unfollowed me on Twitter. There's also reports that came out that Sasha was upset that Ronda Rousey took her spot at WrestleMania when Ronda came back, and I could definitely see that being something to be mad about. But also, would that have made Sasha's undefeated streak continue because they kind of wanted to keep the title on Charlotte until she went away for her wedding. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that she got the title match and not the women's title match, because if she would have got the women's championship match, her undefeated streak may have continued, seeing as Charlotte retained the title. I'm also seeing reports that they never actually said anyone was unsafe. There were original reports that came out that stated they said that there was somebody in the ring that was unsafe and they didn't want to work with the person that was unsafe in the ring. That's a bunch of bullshit. They've pretty much worked with everybody that was in that match except maybe Doudrop, and I even heard that they said, oh, I thought we were going to be working Doudrop and Nikki Ash for the title, so who else would they be talking about? Reports came out that they were talking about Becky and Asuka. Then there were also other reports that came out that they said it was never even mentioned about other talents or them being unsafe. So it's really just a bunch of he say, she say. We legit have no idea what's going on. And there's also reports coming out that there's not a lot of people on Sasha Banks and Naomi's side, the wrestlers, backstage people. I feel like there's people on their side, but they're just not going to speak up and say that they're on their side publicly. Dolph Ziggler did just go ahead and post a picture with him and Naomi today, and of course Jimmy Uso posted his support. There's people like that are posting support, but there's a lot of people that I'm sure wish they could do what they did, and they do support them, but they're not going to show that publicly. I also feel like WWE is using this to make an example out of people that may have this thought of, oh, if I don't like creative, I can just hand you my title and leave. I definitely feel like they are just trying to kind of make an example out of Naomi and Sasha with the removing their merch and removing their Facebook pages. They can't remove the Twitters because the Twitters are legitimately ran by them. But I do feel like they won't be released. I do feel like they are just genuinely trying to make an example out of them. There's also been people that said, well, their contracts expire in 2 months. What if they just do this until their contracts expire and then they will be free agents? Not exactly. WWE legally can freeze their contracts, and I'm sure they have already frozen their contracts, meaning whenever they decide to return, whatever time they have left, they will still have left. Unless something magically happens and they're released. But I don't see them being released. I definitely believe that their contracts are frozen and then they'll come back once this little hissy fit is over. But I just spoke about this on the last show that WWE needs more women's tag teams. They don't have any tag teams. Now they call themselves trying to do a tournament. How the fuck are you going to do a tournament when you don't have any tag teams? They don't have any legitimate women's tag teams. They need to go ahead and put Nikki and Doudrop together and see if they could maybe do something. But there's a lot of women they are not using, so just put them together. Do something with fucking Shanti, for God's sake. Shanti could be in a tag team with somebody. But they've also released a good chunk of people. There were reports that came out this morning that they may be using NXT talent to bring up to fill the spaces for the tournament, but there's not much NXT talent left either because you've released every fucking body. So who are you going to bring up for NXT? Toxic Attraction? Because what teams do you have down there? Wendy Chu? Like, what teams are in NXT for you to even bring? They have literally released everyone. I really do believe that they'll be back. It is just a matter of time of when they will be back, but they will definitely be back. If they did leave before the show, like how it just came out today that they actually left before the show and WWE still decided to advertise it anyway, I really don't know if this is a work or a shoot, because why the fuck wouldn't they just add like Sonya Deville and Alexa Bliss to the match and call it a day if they left before the show? So they left before the show and then you still advertised it. And like, I don't know. This whole thing is really confusing. We're definitely just gonna have to see how it plays out. let's just quickly talk about Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon is taking time away from WWE. This is breaking news. This is the first time Stephanie has taken time away, aside from giving birth to her children and getting married to Triple H. It's being said that it's being kept very private and personal, but for the most part, it was said that she's taking the time off just due to the fact that she's burnt out about, like, Triple H and his health issues last year. Like, it just kind of really took a toll on her, and she's just really just trying to kind of decompress from all that. Speaking of Triple H, it has come out this morning as well that Triple H is back working full time. So maybe they're just kind of switching roles now. Maybe they're just used to having such like a what do you call that? Like a parent figure in the household now, because when Triple H had his house issues, or his heart issue, he had completely left WWE and he was at the house for the most part, not working full time, doing anything like that. So now that Triple H is back on the road, maybe Stephanie is going in to fill in that presence that Triple H had when he was home, because now he is back full time. It has been reported that Nick Khan will be taking over the duties that Stephanie McMahon previously had. I'm not really a fan of Nick Khan. I don't really know much about Nick Khan, but I don't fucking like him. I did hear that he's like the one that's kind of like in charge of the releases and the changes and things like that. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. As I did state on the last episode, I was hoping that they did not remove Nash Carter from the DLC with his tag team partner from MSK. It has came out a couple days ago that he has been released from the 2K series. He will not be making his 2K debut in this game, and I'm very upset about this. I was very much looking forward to using this tag team in my universe. I definitely thought it was too late for them to make any kind of changes of any kind, honestly. But I guess WWE is really taking these pictures very seriously. And his replacement is My Faction cards. Now, if you're anything like me, I have not fucking touched My Faction. I am not interested in the least bit. I would have very much preferred like a playable character that we could have had for DLC or something like that, or something. But My Faction cards, I personally don't feel like it's a fair trade or a good trade. I don't use anything from My Faction. The only thing I use from My Faction is the shit that What's the Status uploads. But that is all I have for this week. This was just a kind of breaking news episode because I couldn't cover all of this stuff last week due to some things out of my control. I will go ahead and explain those on Wednesday's show, and the title of that show is How I Save Money, and I'll just give you tips of how I save money and things I do to save money and things of that nature. And then Friday, of course, we will have our Wrestling Weekly Report. Make sure you all follow the social media sites. At Dame Don is the Twitter, and Don Life with 2 N's and 2 E's is the Instagram. See you all on Wednesday.